The Lakers just climbed to the second spot in the Western Conference, and while that alone should have Lakers Nation celebrating, something much bigger is brewing behind the scenes that could completely transform this franchise's championship trajectory. Welcome to Lakers News Fan Report, your ultimate destination for breaking news, exclusive updates, and everything you need to know about our beloved Los Angeles Lakers. I'm here to bring you the most important developments happening right now, and I promise you, what I'm about to share will have you thinking about this team's potential in a completely different light. Let me set the stage for you. We just took down the Philadelphia 76ers in a thrilling 112-108 victory on Sunday night. And that win wasn't just another tally in the win column. It was a statement. It was proof that this Lakers team, sitting at 17 wins and 6 losses, is legitimate. We've won 9 of our last 11 games, and the chemistry between our big three of Austin Reeves, Luka Doncic, and LeBron James is reaching levels that, frankly, most people didn't think was possible this early in the season. But here's the thing that keeps me up at night in the best way possible. As good as we look right now, as dominant as we've been during this stretch, there's a feeling around the organization that we're still one move away. One blockbuster transaction away from elevating our championship hopes to a level this franchise hasn't reached in years. And I'm not talking about a role player addition or a bench depth move. I'm talking about the kind of seismic shift that changes the entire landscape of the NBA. The Western Conference is absolutely loaded right now. We've got teams with multiple All-Stars, we've got organizations that have been building for years, and we've got franchises that are going all in on their championship windows. For the Lakers to not just compete but to dominate, we need to be bold. We need to be aggressive. We need to make the kind of move that sends shockwaves through the league and puts every other contender on notice, and that's exactly what the Lakers appear to be positioning themselves to do. Because while everyone has been focused on our recent winning streak and the incredible synergy between our stars, the front office has been working behind the scenes, exploring options, having conversations, and identifying potential opportunities that could take this roster from really good to historically great. Now, I need you to understand something about how the NBA works at the highest level. Championship windows are precious and fleeting. LeBron James is still playing at an elite level, but we all know that Father Time is undefeated. We have an opportunity right now, in this moment, to maximize what could be the final years of one of the greatest players to ever touch a basketball. That means we cannot be passive. We cannot sit back and hope that what we have is enough. We need to be proactive, we need to be strategic, and we need to be willing to make difficult decisions if it means bringing banner number 18 to Los Angeles. And here's where things get absolutely fascinating. There's a situation developing in Milwaukee that could present the Lakers with an opportunity that, frankly, I never thought would be realistic. The Milwaukee Bucks, despite having one of the most talented rosters in the league, have been struggling. They're not meeting expectations, the chemistry seems off, and there are legitimate questions about the direction of that franchise. And when a team with a generational superstar starts to falter, that's when things get interesting. I've been hearing whispers for weeks now, conversations happening in league circles, people who are connected to teams and agents starting to talk about possibilities that seemed impossible just months ago. And the more I dig into this, the more I talk to people who understand how these situations develop, the more convinced I become that something significant could be on the horizon. Let me give you some context here. A few months ago, information started circulating that wasn't public knowledge at the time, but was being discussed among people in the know. There was frustration brewing in Milwaukee, frustration from their star player about the team's direction, about the roster construction, about whether they could actually compete for a championship with the current group. And when a player of that caliber starts to question the trajectory of his team, that's when front offices around the league start paying very close attention. According to reports that have surfaced from credible sources, including Lou Canellis from Fox 32 Chicago speaking on 670 The Score, The situation in Milwaukee reached a point where their superstar actually wanted to be moved. His first choice, apparently, was New York with the Knicks. That makes sense from a market perspective, from a legacy perspective, and from a competitive perspective. The Knicks have been building something special, and the idea of joining that organization had appeal. But here's where it gets interesting for us. The Knicks wouldn't budge on their offer. They weren't willing to move off Karl-Anthony Towns. They weren't willing to include the kind of package that Milwaukee would demand for a player of this caliber. And ultimately, those discussions didn't lead anywhere productive. And that's when other teams started entering the conversation. That's when the Lakers made their interest known. Now, I want you to really absorb what I'm about to tell you, because this is where the story takes a turn that should have every Lakers fan absolutely fired up. The Lakers didn't just casually inquire about the situation. They actively explored what it would take to make a deal happen. But here's the part that really blows my mind. Luka himself got involved. Our star player personally inquired, trying to see if the Lakers could work out a deal with the Milwaukee Bucks. Think about what that means. Luka, who we acquired in February and who has been absolutely phenomenal for us, is so committed to winning a championship in Los Angeles that he's actively recruiting and trying to facilitate moves that would make this team even better. That's the kind of leadership and commitment to excellence that championship teams are built on. That's the kind of mentality that separates good teams from great ones. And who is this player that has the Lakers so interested, that has Luka personally involved in trying to make a deal happen? We're talking about Giannis Antetokounmpo. Yes, you heard that correctly. The Greek Freak. A two-time MVP, an NBA champion, a Defensive Player of the Year, one of the most physically dominant players the league has ever seen, a once-in-a-generation talent who at 30 years old is still in the prime of his career and could be available for trade. Let that sink in for a moment. Giannis Antetokounmpo in a Lakers uniform, playing alongside LeBron James, running the floor with Luka Doncic. Imagine the pick-and-roll possibilities. Imagine the defensive versatility. Imagine the absolute nightmare that would create for every other team in the league trying to match up against us. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. How would we even make this work? What would it take to get a player of Giannis's caliber? And that's a legitimate question, because the Milwaukee Bucks aren't going to just give away a generational superstar for role players and draft picks. They're going to demand premium assets. They're going to want young talent with star potential, and they're going to want to make sure that if they're moving on from Giannis, they're getting something substantial in return. And this is where the conversation gets difficult but necessary. The Lakers reportedly have the best asset for a trade involving Giannis, and that asset is Austin Reaves. Now, before you start typing angry comments, hear me out. I love Austin Reaves. We all love Austin Reaves. He's been phenomenal for us. He's developed into a legitimate star, and he represents everything we want in a Lakers player. He's tough, he's skilled, he's clutch, and he's only going to get better. But we're talking about Giannis Antetokounmpo here. We're talking about a player who has already proven he can be the best player on a championship team. We're talking about someone who changes the entire calculus of what's possible for this franchise. And as much as it would hurt to see Reaves go, if that's what it takes to bring Giannis to Los Angeles, it's a move you have to seriously consider. The Lakers have shown since acquiring Luka that they're committed to building around him and giving him the best possible chance to win. We signed Marcus Smart in free agency to give us toughness and defensive intensity. We brought in DeAndre Ayton to shore up our interior presence and give us a legitimate rim protector. Every move has been calculated. Every decision has been made with championship contention in mind. Would the front office continue that trend, even if it meant sacrificing a future all-star in Reaves? Based on everything we've seen, the answer is probably yes. And here's why that makes sense from a basketball perspective. Giannis is not just a great player, he's a transformational talent. He's someone who makes everyone around him better, who can guard multiple positions, who can dominate games without even needing to score. His presence alone would open up so much for LeBron and Luka. The spacing would be different. The defensive attention would be split. The versatility would be off the charts. Think about what our offense would look like with Giannis running the floor. LeBron's basketball IQ and playmaking ability combined with Luka's scoring prowess and Giannis's athleticism and finishing ability around the rim. That's the kind of big three that doesn't just compete for championships. That's the kind of big three that dominates the league for years. That's the kind of core that makes the Lakers the prohibitive favorites in the Western Conference and potentially the entire NBA. And defensively, adding Giannis would give us a dimension we simply don't have right now. His length, his ability to switch onto guards and still contest shots, his rim protection, his ability to disrupt passing lanes. We'd go from a good defensive team to potentially an elite defensive team overnight. And in the playoffs, when games slow down and defense becomes paramount, having someone like Giannis who can guard the other team's best player, regardless of position, is invaluable. Now, I want to be realistic about the challenges here. Making a trade of this magnitude is incredibly complex. There are salary cap considerations. There are luxury tax implications. There are roster construction questions that need to be answered. Milwaukee would likely want multiple first-round picks in addition to Reeves. They might want additional young talent or other players to make the salaries work. This isn't a simple two-team swap. This is the kind of deal that requires creativity, negotiation, and probably multiple teams getting involved. But here's what gives me hope. The Lakers have proven they're willing to be aggressive when the right opportunity presents itself. They've shown they understand that championship windows are precious and that you have to strike when the iron is hot. And with Giannis reportedly wanting to leave Milwaukee because he wants to win, with the Lakers having expressed interest, with Luka personally involved in trying to make it happen, all the pieces appear to be aligning for something special. There's also the human element to consider here. Giannis is 30 years old. He's accomplished almost everything you can accomplish individually in this league. He has MVP awards. He has a championship. He has a Defensive Player of the Year award. But he's also competitive. He wants to win more championships. And he's at a point in his career where he needs to be on a team that can contend immediately. The Lakers check all those boxes. We have established stars. We have a winning culture. We have a front office that knows how to build championship teams. And we play in a market that matches his global profile. The question isn't whether Giannis would fit in Los Angeles. The question is whether we can actually make the deal happen. And based on everything I'm hearing, based on the reported interest from both sides, based on Luka's personal involvement, I think there's a legitimate chance this could come to fruition. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next week, but potentially before the trade deadline, or even in the offseason. This is a situation worth monitoring closely, because if it happens, it would be one of the biggest trades in NBA history. I want to emphasize something important here. This isn't just speculation for the sake of speculation. This is based on actual reported interest from credible sources. The Lakers have inquired, Luka has inquired, Giannis has expressed frustration with Milwaukee's direction. These are all factual elements that have been reported by people with legitimate connections. Now, whether it actually happens is a different question, but the foundation for a potential deal exists, and that alone should have Lakers Nation excited about the possibilities. So here's my analysis of where we stand. The Lakers are playing phenomenal basketball right now. We're second in the Western Conference. We have a legitimate big three, and we're winning games at a high level. But the front office understands that to truly maximize this championship window, we need to be bold. Giannis Antetokounmpo represents the kind of transformational addition that could take us from contender to dynasty. The interest is real, the fit makes sense, and the timing could be right. Whether it actually happens remains to be seen, but the fact that these conversations are happening tells you everything you need to know about this organization's ambition. Now I want to hear from you, Lakers Nation. Would you be willing to trade Austin Reeves and additional assets to bring Giannis Antetokounmpo to Los Angeles? Do you think a big three of LeBron, Luka, and Giannis could win multiple championships? Or do you think we should stick with what we have and continue developing our current roster? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because I genuinely want to know how you feel about this potential blockbuster move. If you want to stay updated on every development with the Lakers, every trade rumor, every insider report, every strategic move this organization makes, you need to subscribe to Lakers News Fan Report right now. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a video, and smash that like button if you found this analysis valuable. We're on the verge of something special here in Los Angeles, and I'll be here breaking it all down for you every step of the way. Let's go, Lakers!